When I reached the far edge of one cemetery, I glanced back for no particular reason. And that's when I noticed a pickup truck stopping in front of section number 1. I watched a solitary figure climb out. He stood erect as he approached the line of graves. Then he paused. He slowly took a knee in front of the first headstone. And he dwelled there for what seemed like a minute in quiet prayer and reflection before he stood and crisply rendered a hand salute. Then he did something very curious, and that's when I knew. He sidestepped left, bent on knee, prayed, stood, and rendered another hand salute. I watched him drive off, and then I slowly made my way to that very point. I had been there many times before myself. I read the words on the tombstone, "Killed in action." I could see their bright, shining faces many years before on my back porch. They were both friends of my high school daughter, very respectful and always very curious about the United States Army. So I wasn't surprised at all when I heard that they enlisted. On Labor Day 2004, I walked down the driveway to pick up my copy of the Daily Advertiser. There on the front page was the smiling face of Corporal Joseph C. Thibodeau III, United States Army. But the headlines told a far different story. Joe had been killed in a firefight in Iraq with insurgents. The military returned Joe home for burial with full military armor. The honor guard fired the 21-gun salute, and the bugler played taps. As the final notes of taps wafted eerily across the cemetery, I looked up to see a young man lost in a sea of hurt and pain. Staff Sergeant Jacob McMillan's eyes were locked onto the Army General presenting the American flag to Joseph's parents, a scene Jacob would witness far too often. But this time it was different. This time America was honoring his childhood friend, his kindred spirit who had been struck down by an enemy sniper in Iraq. It seemed like hours before Staff Sergeant McMillan stirred from his post overlooking his best friend's grave. For this former Lafayette High School wrestling champion, the pull to stand guard eternally over his best friend was overpowering. But duty called, and Staff Sergeant McMillan deployed a second time to Iraq. Combat was no stranger to this airborne Ranger infantryman who stood watch at night while Acadiana slept. But tragically, on December 20th, 2006, while on a patrol near Baghdad, enemy bullets cut the life of Jacob McMillan too short. Too soon, again, the military honor guard rolled up the lonely, winding road. The soldiers reverently and with military precision lovingly carried their hero to his final resting place. Quickly, the volleys of the 21-gun salute pierced the silence, signaling to Joseph that Jacob had come home to stand guard once again. Joseph and Jacob are buried side by side, friends in life, comrades in arms, now brothers linked arm in arm for eternity. So as we remember our heroes on this Memorial Day, it is important to recall that they were in no way common. They and their families possess the uncommon values of courage, valor, and devotion to the defense of freedom. It is because of them we still are the land of the free and the home of the brave. And it is my fervent hope that on this special day that the sacrifices of the few are sufficient to sustain the American dream, and that by venerating the soldiers of our past, we inspire the next generation to step forward to defend our country and its way of life.